joint injury, it can be life-threatening. There are 4 places in the body where you can actually hemorrhage from. Who knows what 4 of those places are? Well, your arteries, but just body components, parts of the body. Where are they? Femur, pelvis, belly, chest. Yes. The brain, you can bleed into your brain, but you don't die from hemorrhage or blood loss. You die because there's so much blood that goes into the brain, it squishes your brain, and your brain is what is displaced and down your spinal cord. But the places where you can actually have blood loss to a quantity great enough to cause death or a life-threatening situation is chest, belly, pelvis, and femur. And the pelvis is something that you can easily control that bleeding when you're up on the mountain if you have any kind of device to bring that pelvis together. When bones are broken, bones bleed, right? They bleed from the marrow inside the bone. And if you approximate those edges, the bone is broken, and you put those edges together again, that's my drunken driving test, it will stop the bleeding, or at least reduce the bleeding of those bones. When a pelvis is fractured, it can be fractured along this, the pelvis, the iliac crest area. It's kind of these big, broad areas on your pelvis up in here. It can be fractured at the pubic bone, and then if you were to cut me in half and look down into my pelvis, at the bottom are 2 rings, and those rings can also be fractured. And if you have a lot of fractures all over, that's a very bad thing. What you want to do is you want to draw this broken circle together. There are several devices on the market with which you can do that. When I started flying, our standard was to take a sheet, and you wrap a sheet around the pelvis, and you tie it in a knot, and you hopefully got it pretty tight. I think it actually did more for me as a care provider, thinking that I was doing something for the patient than actually doing something for the patient, because it takes a lot of pressure. Now, I don't expect any of you to really know this answer, but let's take a pot shot and see who can guess. How many pounds of pressure does it take in a range, I'll give you a range of, say, 5 pounds one way or the other, to close and approximate the bones of a fractured pelvis? 28, 30? Any other votes from 30?
22.
Whoever said 30, did you say 30? Fairly close. It's around 32, 34 pounds of pressure. So, yeah, that's tight. Now, how many, and well, there are a few women in here, but nobody probably old enough to remember wearing a girdle. Well, girdles were
Nobody
tight.
will
How
admit
many pounds of pressure does a girdle have? I don't know. But what I want you to do is I didn't hear that joke, but obviously it was a pretty good one. What I'm going to do is show you how to put this on and talk to you about this device a little bit more. It is called a Sling, a pelvic sling. And the beauty about this is this product is the only product on the market that locks off at a determined amount of pressure. And that's the amazing thing about this. There are other products on the market, but you have to guess how much pressure is being applied to the pelvis. So then you think, okay, the sling is on, and then they're transported down to the clinic, and then they're airlifted out, or they go into the hospital by ambulance. And then what happens? All of a sudden, a doctor has to take this off? No. The beauty about this product for patient comfort and patient well-being is the patient can go into X-ray, into CAT scan, into MRI without this being removed. And that's the beauty about the well-being and the care and improved outcome of the patient. So think about where you want to apply this now on a patient's hip. So remember, I have kind of this circle area around my pelvis. And I have anywhere, this is the top of my pelvis, and my hip bones are down here. Where do I want to apply this? What happens if I put the pressure on the top of my pelvis up here? Exactly. You guys have the picture. You're very visual. This is good. Yes, it's going to make all of this spread out like a cone. So I want to put it so I'm lining up all of these things. And the easiest way is to find out where the hip bone is. If somebody is on, the more slender side, sometimes you can feel it. But remember, these people have long johns, and they have ski pants, and they have all of this paraphernalia on them. So one great way to determine where the hip bones are right here is just to kind of look and observe where their pubic bone is. And, you don't need to go feeling around, but feel their, kind of where the wide part of their hips is, and then just draw a line, you know, just at the top of the V where the legs are. That's going to be, you guys all know where the pubic bone is, right? You want the center of this sling to be aligned with the hip bone, with the pubic bone, because you're closing that whole circle. The application is really simple. It's slippery on the back side, so you can easily slide it underneath the patient. And how do you get it underneath the patient? Usually there are several of you that respond to a bad fall. Skier hits a tree, straddles a tree, you know, they're going to have pelvic hip injury. So you can anticipate the need for a sling. You're not going to have this in your pack. This isn't something that you're going to carry in your pack with you on the mountain. So what are you going to do? You're going to call for it. Yeah, you're going to have somebody bring this device to you because you have determined from the mechanism of injury and the mechanism that the accident occurred that this person has a pelvic injury. Now, the person is lying in the snow and you think the hips are right here. I can take it underneath their legs and slide it up, or I can slide it through the small of their back and down. Which way might you want to think about doing it? Some of it's going to depend upon your situation, but if you think about the location, here's my hip bone, it's much shorter to go underneath my thighs and right up than the small of the back and all the way down. Plus, if I'm sliding it down, I'm sliding it over all of the clothes and all of that cheeky meat and pushing it all down there, you know, and here it's just kind of quicker to get right to where you want to be. So the application is, in looking at this, you notice that there's an orange handle here. This orange handle is the anchor. If you apply pressure, so I'll slide it under him. Don't make me stretch. Now on a guy, and I have to tell you with zippers and wallets and everything, get the wallets out, and you might want to make sure that you're tightening this slowly if it's on a male so that their anatomy is appropriately out of the way, because you don't want to squish more things together than what's appropriate to squish.
You said you'd never tell.
With more than one of you on the mountain, somebody would just grab this side, and I would grab this side. If you're by yourself, you can do it this way. But because there are more than one of you that respond to an accident like this, why doesn't somebody jump up here and give me counter traction? You're okay with everything? And just apply slow, even pressure. This is not the clean and jerk. Now, everybody be real quiet. Listen for a click. Okay. There was the first.
That's awesome.
It's still there. We thought this was a spotlight. He was checking it out, you guys. Okay, now.
We couldn't hear the click. Can you do it again?
Okay.
You feel it.
The first click, as you're pulling tension. Okay, may I have your attention? As you're pulling tension on this, you pull it slowly, slowly, slowly. You hear the first click. At that point, you Velcro this side back, and then as you release it, you'll hear the second click that is the locking mechanism. And inside this plastic locking mechanism, or as you see plastic on the outside, there are two little metal components inside that latch off, but it has been well tested throughout research, and it doesn't interfere with a patient even going through an MRI. So, there you go. And how do you get it off? You don't. You leave it on forever. Obviously, it's not going to be removed until this person gets into the hospital and is under a physician's care. But to release this, you would want to release it really slowly. You just, again, are holding this counter traction. That's all right. You un-Velcro, and you slowly, slowly, slowly let it go. These are definitely reusable. I would label it with your label on it so it can get back to your ski patrol, however you get your backboards back and all of your other equipment. You can write your name, put your logo right in here on the inside. Any questions about this? And I don't know how many samples. I know we have a couple. For those of you who are really bent on wearing a girdle tonight, I encourage you to come and try it out.